Hi folks, Chris Martin here to tell you about an exciting feature in Sage Writer, the AI Magic Assist. With this, you'll be able to get inspiration, get unstuck, and get some ideas to kickstart your creative process. Let's take a look. If you've been in the Sage Writer recently, you might have noticed the addition of two little icons, one up here and one down here. This one unfolds to show you it's the AI Magic Assist. And this is the integration of the Chat-GPT OpenAI writing tool into Sage SEO. So let's go ahead and take a look. I've set up an article here that is about the board game Diplomacy. Let's just go ahead and see what the AI Assist can do to help kickstart our creativity. So I click on the AI Magic Assist button here, and you'll see I have some basic prompt ideas. Let's start with an outline. And here I'm going to say, write an outline for a blog post about the board game Diplomacy and a new AI that plays at a human level called Cicero. I click on Submit. Now, this is running through the AI engine, and it's going to come back with an outline that I can use to structure the article. So if I don't know exactly what I'm going to write about, sometimes it's good to have sort of a general outline to start with. And as you can see, it knocks it right out, and I can go ahead and insert that in there. So, overview of Diplomacy, introduction of the new AI. Here's what it is, here's how it works, here's the challenges and opportunities. So once I get into here, you can see that the keyword research that was incorporated into this article is being highlighted by the text generated by the AI. All right, so you've got an outline. What else can it do? Let's go in and have it create an introduction. So how about write the first paragraph of an article about the board game Diplomacy and a new AI that plays at a human level. Now you can mess around with this, obviously. You can put in whatever kind of prompt you want here. And I actually think it's better at writing introductions at the end of the article, after you've written it all. It does a really good job with summarizing, but introductions and conclusions, you can see it generates it right out here. So this is enthusiastic. It is true that the board game of Diplomacy did just get a boost from this AI here. So I go ahead and throw that in there, and here it is. And I'm going to need to clean that up and do some editing, but there's an introduction. Let's push the boundaries a little bit further. Let's go ahead and pull this up here and tell it to write the 3 paragraphs about the history of the board game Diplomacy. Let's just say, let's write 3 paragraphs about the history of board game Diplomacy and some famous people who have played it. So now I could write this, I could pull this out of history, I could do all the research. Let's see what the AI comes up with here. It should talk about Alan Kalhammer, who developed the game. It should talk about the Kennedy White House, Kissinger, famous players. Let's see what it is. There's Alan Kalhammer. That's great. I'm wondering if it's going to be able to pull 3 paragraphs out of this. But one of the things that I want you to be cautious about is using too much of the AI. I'm an expert on the board game of Diplomacy. I've been playing it for 20 years. Pulling up basic facts and information so that I don't have to do the grunt work but type it all out, that's fantastic. But the real insight that people would get from Diplomacy comes from my input and my experience. So I can't just take this and chunk it into this article without doing any editing. Let's see here. J.R.R. Tolkien was a fan. I don't think that's true. I don't think that Steve Martin was a fan of the game of Diplomacy in the 60s. That would be news to me. Diplomacy was not adapted for a television series in 1975. A computer version was released in 2003. The game has also been featured in several video games. That's interesting. Civilization and Age of Empires. Well, now that is true, there is diplomacy in those two. So this is where you kind of run up against the limits of it, right? Is you have expert knowledge that you bring to the table, and the AI just doesn't have that. It's not creating anything new. It's pulling together words in a logical order based on other words that it knows. So even if I was going to, now look here at the last paragraph, Henry Kissinger, this is true. Kissinger was a big fan of the game of diplomacy. I don't believe that he played with the Soviet leader, Leonid Brezhnev, although if that was true, I would love to have been there and seen that game. So with the caveat that you cannot trust what the AI creates, you must just use it as inspiration and helping you get unstuck and a place to kind of structure stuff out, I will say that what it does do is create good summaries. So conclusions. So let's go back in here and let's have it write the conclusion to the following article. And I'm just going to go ahead and paste in the text that we had above. And I will submit that, and we'll come down here and see what it comes up with. That is pretty good. It picked up the end that political science classes should have been pasted in there, and it wasn't. So let's go ahead and throw that in there. And now we've got the conclusion of this article as it was written. What do we want to call our article? We're going to generate a new title for this one here. What's it going to come up with? This is another thing where you can get good titles for your blog posts. The rise of AI in the AI versus human, who will win in diplomacy? Revolutionizing the board game industry, man versus machine. So all of these are pretty good titles. I'm going to go. There we go. The AI Revolution board game edition becomes our title of our article, and now I can go ahead and put this up on my website. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on the Sage Discord. I am monitoring that on the regulars, or reach out to me, Chris at sageseo.ai.